The following contest is an Extreme Rules match and is for the Women's Hardcore Championship.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome here to FWE Fantasy Wrestling Entertainment as we kick things off with a Hardcore Championship match. Well, last week unsuccessful in advancing in the Women's World Championship title tournament. Black Widow here tonight looking to leave with the championship belt, and she's not alone. Two looming silhouettes there following her down the ramp. That's the daughters of Gamora. The daughters of Thanos, I should say. Gamora and Nebula. It's an Extreme Rules match. There's no disqualifications, so those two could get involved. Maybe Black Widow feels she needs a little insurance policy here tonight against the champion Elizabeth Swann. Elizabeth Swann, not only the Women's Hardcore Champion, but also the Money in the Bank briefcase holder. Yeah, I think we were talking last week about the fact Cruella de Vil very interested in who's qualifying into the Women's World Championship tournament here with a chance of winning the title at the first PLE, FWE Fantasia. Holding the Money in the Bank briefcase, Elizabeth Swann's got to be very interested in who the champion's going to be as well, as she will look to pick her spot at the most opportune time.
Introducing the challenger from Moscow, Russia, the Spider Black. And her opponent from Kingston, Jamaica, the Women's Hardcore Champion, Elizabeth Turner.
Of course, Extreme Rules match, anything goes. Referee Ernest Wright holding up the Women's Hardcore Championship belt. Last time Elizabeth Swann defended that title belt was in a backstage brawl where she defeated the now current Women's World Champion of the Galaxy, Cruella de Vil. Tonight, Black Widow with an opportunity. Black Widow last week losing in her matchup to Rapunzel. Rapunzel will be fighting for the Women's Championship at Fantasia. Black Widow will be taking part in the Last Chance Qualifier Battle Royal. That will be at the beginning of the FWE Fantasia PLE. And she'd love to go into that PLE as the Women's Hardcore Champion. And depositing Elizabeth Swann to the outside there, you see Nebula up on the ring apron. No disqualifications. Taking that turnbuckle off, that patting off the top turnbuckle. Black Widow's gonna grab herself a table. And Elizabeth Swann preempts her. Very interesting though, Black Widow coming out here with the daughters of Thanos. The Women's Disney Tag Team Champions. Nebula, the female fighting champion. Elizabeth hanging Black Widow up on the top rope there. And a big right hand there. Could this be it already? No, not even a one count, as Elizabeth Swann very quick to kick out, but holding that jaw. And the forearm. Springboard forearm by Black Widow. Goes for the cover yet again. No rope breaks. And again, not able to get a one count. Saw Natasha shaking her head there. Trying to figure out what do I need to do. Back under the ring, and now going to bring out a kendo stick, and she's going to hit Elizabeth Swann right over the top of the head with that kendo stick. Just wearing out Elizabeth Swann. Now granted, we haven't seen much interference by the Daughters of Thanos. Big back fist there by Black Widow as we're on the outside. Anything goes out here. Oh, big spinning back kick. And Black Widow might be setting up to put this thing away right out of the gate. Oh, going in for the armbar. No, into the disarmer. Disarmer locked in. Is Elizabeth going to tap? It's false count anywhere. And Elizabeth is not going to tap out. Black Widow releasing the hold. But going back to my point there about the Daughters of Thanos, we saw Nebula take the padding off that top turnbuckle. They haven't necessarily, though, physically gotten involved in this matchup, but they can prove as an added distraction for the champion. Uh-oh. Black Widow with a sledgehammer. Oh, and right into the lower abdomen of Elizabeth Swann. As looked like maybe Elizabeth was going for a drop kick. Black Widow swatted it away. And now, ooh, right down on the apron of the ring. Hardest part of the ring there. As Elizabeth deposits Black Widow back in between the ropes. Irish whipped. Black Widow shot right to the lower abdomen again, right where that sledgehammer shot was. Oh, and now the forearm. Elizabeth out on her feet, using the ring ropes to get back up in the corner. Watch out for that turnbuckle. Remember, it's exposed. Oh! And Elizabeth head first into the exposed turnbuckle. The turnbuckle that Nebula took the padding off of. Elizabeth trying to come back with a bulldog. Goes for the cover to retain the Hardcore Championship. And a kick out at 1 by Black Widow. Oh, whoa, what is going on here? Oh, wow. Interesting slam there by Elizabeth Swann. Black Widow now deposited to the outside. See Nebula and Gamora over there watching on. Uh-oh. Going, looks like maybe for the disarmer again. Disarmer locked in. And the referee's going to call for the bell. Referee's going to call for the bell. I don't think there was a tap out. I think that was referee's discretion. I believe the referee called off the match, considered it a KO, and Black Widow is the new Women's Hardcore Champion. What a way to kick off episode 2 here tonight. We'll continue FWE right after this. Well, welcome back here to FWE as we get ready for our first of 2 Fatal 5-Way men's qualifying matchups here tonight.
Making his way to the ring from Louisville, Kentucky, weighing in at 290 pounds, Robert
Oh, Robbie Gilvin makes his way down here to the ring. We already know one of the individuals that is going to be making their way to Fantasia. That being Ernie the Elf, who earned himself a shot at the title in our first Fatal 5-Way qualifying match last week. I'll tell you, somebody who is very motivated coming into this matchup. You hear it with his theme song, Down with the Keebler Elves. There has been a budding rivalry that has lasted for years between Matt McIntyre and the Keebler Elves. He could not have been happy to see Ernie the Elf advancing into the title picture at Fantasia. I talked with Matt earlier on tonight. He says his goal is twofold. He wants to win this Fatal 5-Way, yes, to be in the hunt for the Tri-Wizard World Championship, but more so to make sure that Ernie the Elf does not get the title himself. And it's going to be the Easter Bunny, the third participant in this Fatal 5-Way. You want to talk about somebody that can play with your mind psychologically before the match has even gotten started. I mean, can you imagine standing across the ring from something like this? Lethal combination of psychological strength and speed. The Easter Bunny will look to make his way to Fantasia.
And representing the Dangerous Alliance from New York, weighing in at 600 pounds.
And Hulk, the men's Money in the Bank briefcase holder, but he's looking to get into the main event title picture through this qualifier. We saw in our first qualifying match last week, it looked like the powerhouse in that matchup was the Penguin. Here tonight, I think you look no further than the green giant known as Hulk as the favorite if you're looking for the powerhouse to come out victorious. Hulk, of course, with the Money in the Bank briefcase, he would be able to cash in whenever he wanted on the current champion, Dylan Young, if he chooses to cash in on Dylan Young. I mean, if he advances here tonight, he would be in the title picture, and then if he isn't successful in winning the title at Fantasia, he could cash in that night, have two opportunities in the span of 24 hours. As Jack Sparrow, the leader of the Black Pearl crew, will be the fifth and final participant in this qualifying match. You talk about an X Factor. Jack Sparrow's, I don't know, about a few ships short of a complete platoon. Very unpredictable with his wrestling style, very unpredictable with his lifestyle. But hey, maybe that might help him out in this matchup. So our second Fatal 5-Way qualifier, Robbie Gilman, Matt McIntyre, the Easter Bunny, Hulk, and Jack Sparrow. What an eclectic group this is. Only one will be moving on to Fantasia to join Ernie the Elf and the Tri-Wizard champion, Dylan Young. Falls count anywhere, pinfall submission, much like we saw last week. Still to come later on tonight, our main event. It's champion versus champion as far as the mid-card is concerned. Last week we saw Gaston retain his United States Championship against Nick Gunther. He will be taking on the DC Comics Intercontinental Champions. We got a cover here in the middle of the ring. Hulk gonna break that up. But the Intercontinental Champion Michael Norman in action here tonight. One-on-one match, no titles on the line, just a battle between the two individuals holding the current FWE mid-card titles. And of course, we ended up seeing last week Nick Gunther come up short in his title rematch. Stipulation was if Gaston won, Nick could not battle for the United States Championship so long as it was in the possession of Gaston. So Nick Gunther, at least at this point, will no longer be able to compete for the United States Championship gold as Robbie Gilvin, right on the Colts logo, the 10 beats of the Batterum to Matt McIntyre. Looks like Hulk may have a table set up out there outside the ring. We got a cover, Robbie with a cover on Matt, but referee Ernest Wright took his time getting down there and never even was able to start a 1 count. Far side, got the two tallest individuals in this match, the Hulk and the Easter Bunny squaring off. Bunny delivered to the steel steps. Right in front of us, you got Jack Sparrow, Robbie Gilman going at it, and Matt McIntyre now is going to head on over, and he's going to go after the Hulk. Well, that didn't work out so well for him. Robbie Gilvin with a nice high spin kick, got a cover right there in front of the Easter Bunny who breaks it up, and Jack Sparrow's got a kendo stick. Who was it for? Apparently he decided not to use it. And I've just been handed a memo here, folks. Next week, we're going to have ourselves a title rematch for the Women's Hardcore Championship. Elizabeth Swann demanding a rematch after referee stoppage. Lost her the title just moments ago. Now I have understood from the FWE commissioner that he's wanting to make it absolutely fair. We ended up having Black Widow. Oh, hang on, hold that thought as Easter Bunny's got a cover on Robbie Gilvin. And Robbie is just going to be able to kick out at 2. But FWE commissioner wants to make it fair and square here. Is not going to allow the Daughters of Thanos to be out ringside with Black Widow in order to assure that it will just be one-on-one. Oh, Robbie through the table, courtesy of the Easter Bunny. But next week, the title rematch for the Hardcore Championship, the Women's Hardcore Championship, is started by the Easter Bunny. Cover on the Hulk. Jack Sparrow's not even paying attention. And a kick out by the Hulk. That could have been it. Easter Bunny almost was able to advance in the tournament. But the Women's Hardcore Championship will be defended next week inside of a steel cage. Stipulation, however, much similar to what we saw as the Easter Bunny goes flying. Much similar to what we saw last week in the United States Championship match. If Elizabeth Swann does not win the title back, if Black Widow is successful in title retention, Elizabeth Swann will no longer be able to fight for the Women's Hardcore Championship. Robbie with a shot there with a guitar to the back. I couldn't tell if that was to Jack Sparrow or to Hulk or to both of them. Seemingly had very little effect. That guitar is completely destroyed though. As Jack Sparrow could be in trouble. Hulk with the power bomb. Cover. And the Easter Bunny's gonna break it up. DDT. Matt McIntyre with a DDT to Robbie Gilvin. And now Jack Sparrow with a flurry of offense there against Matt McIntyre. Uh-oh. Uranagi by the Hulk to Robbie Gilvin. Cover. That could be it. And Robbie able to kick out. If he hadn't kicked out, that was going to be all she wrote. Everybody else was all engaged, not paying attention. Robbie with a Superman punch. Uh-oh. I think the Easter Bunny might have been going for a surprise roll-up on Robbie. And now Robbie with a right hand has the Hulk down. Jack Sparrow going to break that up. Oh, small package. Small package. After a suplex, but Robbie going to break that up there. Matt McIntyre almost able to advance, and Robbie with the reverse GTS on the Easter Bunny. Here's the cover, and Matt's going to break that up. All 5 competitors down here close to each other, so if you get a pinfall or a submission, it's not going to be that far away that somebody has to go to be able to break it up. Referee was in the way there. Hulk's down, Jack Sparrow's down, Robbie's got himself a handful of rabbit ears. And Matt with a clothesline to the back of Robbie Gilvin's head. And remember, Matt wants to advance in the tournament to stop Ernie the Elf from winning the Tri-Wizard Championship, and now he's going to put the crossface on Robbie Gilvin. Is Robbie going to tap out? There's nobody else around. Is Robbie going to... Jack Sparrow's just watching. And Jack Sparrow didn't bother to break up that submission, surprisingly. Oh, now Matt's in for a cover on Robbie as Jack was delivered to the steel steps. And Matt McIntyre will pick up the win. Matt McIntyre is on his way to FWE Fantasia. We talked about the motivation. He talked about the goal. He's one step closer to not only trying to win the Tri-Wizard Championship himself, but stopping the Keebler Elf, Ernie the Elf, from winning the gold himself. Matt McIntyre, the second entrant into the world title picture. Coverage will continue right after this. Don't go anywhere. FWE rolls on. Welcome back to FWE as we get ready for the third of our qualifying matches for the women's tournament.
The following is scheduled for one fall, making her way to the ring, representing the Queens from Baghdad, Iraq, the Diamond Princess.
Last week we saw Rapunzel and Gamora advance their way into the finals. They will be participants in the multi-woman matchup against the current Women's World Champion of the Galaxy, Cruella de Vil. Princess Jasmine, the high flyer from Agrabah, looking to be the third. Rapunzel, part of the Queen's faction, already advancing. If Jasmine's able to advance, that would increase the chances, at least that the women's world title could be in the faction by the end of Fantasia. She will have a tough task here tonight to advance.
And from another time,
And it's going to be the master of the Hunger Games. If anyone knows about survival, it would have to be Katniss Everdeen from District 12. Katniss, deceptively powerful, very technical in the ring, facing off against the high-flying offense of Jasmine. As mentioned, this is going to be our only women's qualifying matchup here tonight. We'll have 2 next week. Kind of alternating with 2 men's qualifiers, 1 women's qualifier 1 week, then 2 women's qualifiers, 1 men's qualifier the following week. We'll continue that trend until we eventually get to FWE Fantasia PLE. Three of our 8 individuals already determined. The champion, 2 challengers, now looking for a third as a springboard forearm by Katniss. And a big boot right to the side of the face. Katniss with the early advantage. Oh, wow, nice back mule kick. And Katniss going up to the top, looking for the stomp. This could be over quick as Katniss right out of the gate, swinging and stomping. And now looking for the knee. Not going for a cover, surprisingly, as looks to inflict more punishment. Boots to the face. And again, the flying forearm. This time to the back of the head, and here's the cover. This could be over right here, right now. And referee, only a 1 count. One thing about Katniss, she does have a short fuse. It will not take much to get her frustrated, get her angry. Sometimes that's a good thing because then she gets in her head and you can take advantage. Like that right there, the Bulldog by Jasmine. Could be a bad thing though. You may not want her to go to a place of rage because it may end up working out badly for you. But Jasmine firing back with chops and forearms and a shot to the gut. And look at this. Coming out swinging is Princess Jasmine, who now puts Katniss into the Tree of Woe. Oh, and then into a backstabber. Now Katniss with the rights and lefts. Side Russian leg sweep. Here's the cover. To advance. And a kick out at 1. Katniss starting to fire up. Feeling the energy from this crowd. Cover. Is Katniss going to advance in the tournament? Kick out at 2 by Jasmine. Jasmine stays alive. And Katniss, I think, is saying it's over. Oh, big punch. That could be it. Lights out. 2 and kick out at 2. I thought that was gonna be it. Katniss was 1 second away from advancing. And a flying senton. Jasmine down and out. And now just a series of shots from Katniss Everdeen. Have to get your opponent back inside the ring. You cannot win by a double count out. We've already covered this last week. FWE officials saying that if there is a double count out, then both of the women forfeit an opportunity to advance. They both would then be put into that last chance qualifier battle royal. But both are in. Beating in the referee's 10 count. And Katniss, going for the knee, didn't quite get all of it there to the lower back. Now Jasmine. Tilt-a-whirl backbreaker. Katniss having to use the ropes to get back up here. Uh-oh. Oh, Jasmine with a shot right there to the hamstring. And now delivers down into a powerbomb. Didn't go for a cover there, however. And now going to work on the leg some more. Targeting that left leg. Oh, uppercut, back elbow, into the turnbuckle, 619. Jasmine, high flurry of offense, but now Katniss is fired up, and we're gonna do a little slugfest here in the middle of the ring. Right hand after right hand, back and forth, slap, chop, another right hand. Both of these two women just wailing away on each other. Who's gonna hit that knockout blow? There it might be, the forearm from Katniss. Jasmine's down. And Katniss looking to follow up. Katniss, what has she got in store? Oh, Jasmine with the block. And now Jasmine with the airplane head scissors. Takes down Katniss. Now Jasmine looks like she's ready to hit something. Going for the rose plant. That could be it. Cover. 1, 2, and Jasmine, after a hard-fought battle, will advance in the Women's World Championship Tournament.
Here is your winner, the Diamond Princess.
What a battle here in this women's qualifying match. Maybe the best one we've seen so far. But Jasmine will now join Gamora, Rapunzel, and the Women's World Champion of the Galaxy, Cruella de Vil, at FWE Fantasia. Half the field is set. Who else will join? We'll find that out next week. But FWE continues right after this. Welcome back to FWE as we get set for our third qualifying match on the men's side, second of the night.
Making his way to the ring, representing the Dangerous Alliance from Asgard, weighing in at 225 pounds, the Mighty Thunder Man.
And it's going to be the God of Thunder, Thor. We saw his tag team partner, the Hulk, earlier on tonight, unsuccessful in advancing in the Men's World Championship Tournament. Thor with the Dangerous Alliance. He will look to be a representative in a few weeks' time.
And representing the corporation from Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, weighing in at 185 pounds, Ring Jones.
Well, it was just last week that we saw Fred Jones stand shoulder to shoulder with the Tri-Wizard World Champion Dylan Young in a six-man tag team matchup against Ed, Edd, and Eddy. Dylan, Fred, and his tag team partners Shaggy were all successful, but now Fred is going to have his eyes on Dylan Young and that Tri-Wizard Championship as he will look to advance his way through the tournament here tonight. Well, this is interesting. Speaking of Shaggy Rogers, Looks like we're going to have a little...
And representing the corporation from Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, weighing in at 126 pounds, Shaggy Rogers.
As I was going to say, it looks like we're going to have an opportunity here for a little co-opetition between some tag team partners, Fred Jones and Shaggy Rogers. This is going to be interesting because in a fatal five-way, it's every man for himself. There's only one winner. But there is the opportunity that Shaggy and Fred can work together for a little bit of time and maybe settle it out amongst themselves. You saw right there, though, as Shaggy walked by Fred, no eye contact, so maybe they won't be working together. We'll have to wait and see. Already mentioned the fact Shaggy and Fred, winners here in FWE, winning that six-man tag last week with Dylan Young. But only one can advance in this fatal five-way. What Thor's got to be thinking over there, seeing two members of Mystery Incorporated coming out one after the other. Well, much like we mentioned about Thor's tag team partner Hulk unsuccessful in his tournament match, the Joker looking to at least get a representative of the Inmates into the world title picture. His tag team partner Penguin last week unsuccessful in his tournament match. Talk about the X Factor in this one, the unpredictable individual. Gotta be Joker. Always calculating under the guise of psychotic. Do not think he does not have a plan.
Here comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane. Sing and all his reindeers pulling on the reins. Bells are ringing, children singing, all is merry and
representing the business from the North Pole, weighing in at 472 pounds, the Saint Nicholas.
Well, so far here tonight, we have ended up seeing representatives of quite a few tag teams, but split up in specific tournament matches. Earlier on tonight, we saw the Easter Bunny in the first tournament battle, came up unsuccessful. His tag team partner out of the Hurt Business, jolly, or in this case, doesn't look like very jolly, old St. Nick, as Santa Claus, one of the powerhouses on the FWE roster. It's going to be the fifth and final participant in this tournament matchup. It's like when he checked his list twice, the naughty list might have been a little bit bigger than the nice list. Santa Claus does not appear to be in a very good mood right now. Referee Ernest Wright calls for the bell. We are underway. We now know at least 4 of the women that will be competing for the Women's World Championship. At the conclusion of this matchup, we'll know half the field as well on the men's side. Dylan Young, Ernie the Elf, and Matt McIntyre, 3 of the participants. Who will join them as Joker already said he had a plan. He's got a chair. And he just delivered it to the back of Fred Jones' hands, but he saw Santa just swat it out of his hands there. Coming up in our main event, it's a mid-card champion versus mid-card champion. Gaston, the United States champion, taking on Michael Norman, the Intercontinental champion. No titles on the line, just kind of a bragging rights match. We don't know who Gaston's next opponent will be for the United States title after He successfully retained against Nick Gunther last week. We understand that we will be getting a general idea of the number one contender for Michael Norman's IC title in the next couple of weeks. Cover here by Shaggy on Fred. No rope breaks, falls count anywhere. That's going to be a running theme the entirety of this tournament on the men's side. Pinfall can take place inside the ring, outside the ring. No rope breaks, no disqualifications. Anything goes. That style can favor some, it can hinder others. In this matchup here, I'm not necessarily certain that anybody's at a disadvantage with that type of ruling, as Thor and Santa Claus, a little test of strength right there. And Santa's gonna win out with a couple of knees to the lower back and then just flings the God of Thunder across the ring. Oh, big clothesline there by Joker, and Fred Jones wisely on the outside of the ring. Now he's gonna pick up some hardware. He's got a chair and he's gonna take down St. Nicholas. Oh, Fred's got a handful of beard. Oh, and then a shot right to the gut. And a DDT. And here comes Joker to enter into this mix. It's inside the ring. Thor and Shaggy. Shaggy with a Hurricane Rana on Thor. Reminder, next week we've got a rematch for the Women's Hardcore Championship. Black Widow defending against the former champion Elizabeth Swann inside of a steel cage. Fred deposited to the outside. Shaggy looking for a, looked like he was looking for an enziguri of some kind there, but he's gonna hit a knee on Joker. Here's the cover. Shaggy to advance in the tournament and a kick out at 1. I've also been told that next week there will be a 4-way tornado tag match to determine the number one contenders. Hold that thought. Thor's got a cover here on Shaggy. Kick out at 1. But a fatal 4-way tornado tag match to determine the number one contenders for the men's Disney Tag Team Champions. And from what I am being told, it will be open to individuals that have been eliminated from this tag team tournament. So we don't know who's going to win out in this one, but we can start compiling a list of eligible individuals. Jack Mitchell, RJ Bishop, Peter Pan, the Penguin, Robbie Gilvin, the Easter Bunny, Hulk, and Jack Sparrow have all failed to advance in their respective tournaments. And you would have to think that the 4 individuals that do not win in this particular matchup, that they also would fall into that category. As I look right now at those individuals, I don't see anybody that would be able to pair up with a tag team partner out of their own faction. Shaggy with a DDT on Santa, and here's the cover. And that's it. Wow. Thor almost got in time to break it up. I thought somebody was going to come in and break it up, but no. Just like that, lights out for Santa, and Shaggy Rogers is advancing in the tournament. He will fight for the championship at FWE Fantasia. Well, how about that? Up next, Gaston, the United States champion, Michael Norman, the Intercontinental champion, face off in a mid-card title bragging rights match. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on FWE.
The following champion versus champion contest is scheduled for one fall. Making his way to the ring from Orlando, Florida, weighing in at 296 pounds, the Intercontinental Champion, Michael Norton.
Welcome back to FWE as it is main event time, a face-off between the two mid-card title holders. Michael Norman, the Intercontinental Champion, ready to face off against Gaston, the United States Champion. A couple of powerhouses ready to go at it here tonight. Michael Norman still kind of waiting in the wings to find out who his next opponent will be that will challenge him for the Intercontinental Championship. We'll be finding that out, we are understand, in the next couple of weeks. We're not certain if he'll be defending it maybe in the go-home show for FWE Fantasia or if he will be defending it at the PLE. But Michael Norman getting ready to face off in a test of strength with this man.
And his opponent from Paris, France, weighing in at 240 pounds, the United States Champion, the X.
Well, what a last couple of weeks it has been for Gaston, winning the United States Championship in that 8-man eliminator gauntlet match, dethroning the then champion Nick Gunther last week. Gunther with the title rematch on condition that if he didn't win, he couldn't challenge for the United States Championship so long as Gaston had it in his possession, and Gaston was successful in his title retention. Title is not on the line here tonight for either one of these men. This is just a bragging rights matchup, if you will, and as if Gaston doesn't need his ego inflated anymore. These two big hosses now going to meet up in the center of the ring, and Gaston looks for the early advantage on Michael Norman. What a night we have had. We have now set up 50% of our field, if you will, for who's going to battle on both the men and the women's side for the respective women's championships. On the men's side, Dylan Young, the champion, Ernie the Elf, Matt McIntyre, Shaggy Rogers, going to make up 4 of the 8 participants at FWE Fantasia. On the women's side, the champion Cruella DeVille. We know she'll be taking on at least Rapunzel, Gamora, and Jasmine. 3 more men's slots to fill in the next 2 weeks, 3 more women's slots to fill. As here's a cover after a kick right to the mush by Michael Norman, and a kick out at 2. The 8th and final participant on both men and women's side will be determined in battle royals that will kick off the night in the first ever FWE PLE Fantasia. And Gaston, oh man, what a big slam there to Michael Norman. Oh, and Gaston, a little too much showboating in the corner. Michael Norman made him pay with the clothesline. Nice scoop slam by Gaston. Cover. And Michael with a kick out at 1. Gaston hoisting Michael up, and a power bomb. And now Gaston just driving Michael's head, the back of his skull, into the mat. Gaston, ever the egotistical man. More showboating, but this time Michael with the scoop slam of his own. In for the cover. And Gaston will kick out at 1. Little anything you can do, I can do better between these two. Michael sent over the top rope. Out to the floor, hard landing. Gaston gonna follow him out there. Dominator by Gaston to the outside. I was going to ask why the referee wasn't administering a 10 count. This isn't a falls count anywhere match. Uh-oh, Michael got Gaston up and down right on the apron. Oh, and then swings him around into the apron again. And now Michael hoists him up in a Dominator of his own. This is a back and forth move mimicking matchup, it seems, as now Gaston delivered back inside of the ring. Michael Norman fired up as referee's count is at 6. Michael already looks like he wants to put this thing away. And Michael, the end of days to Gaston. Is that gonna do it? Into the cover. 1, 2, and Michael Norman has pinned Gaston. The Intercontinental Champion has pinned the United States Champion, and Michael Norman picks up his first singles match win in FWE. Little ice for Gaston's swell head as Michael humbles him a little bit tonight. Thank you everybody for tuning in to FWE. Be sure to tune in next week as the tournament matches continue on here on the SRA Sports and Gaming channel.